Driving down an empty freeway, no waiting for the light to change.
Well, time has come. It is time to head out for the long-awaited Cranberry Lake 50. It is a chilly 50 degrees and it has been raining the entire drive here, but it has stopped raining now and it's supposed to be intermittent sprinkles here and there throughout the day today. And I just ran into somebody here at the parking lot who said the next couple of days should be beautiful, so we're going to hope for the best. We're going to start here at the Wanakina trailhead right by the tennis courts, and we'll be heading in a clockwise direction. So this afternoon we are planning to get to Cranberry Lake and all the way around to Hedgehog Pond if all goes well. It is a little bit later start than I had planned. It's almost 11:15 right now. We have about 18 miles roughly to get through today, so hopefully we'll be able to get there before it's dark, and if not, we're prepared to do this in the dark, but let's hope for the best and let's get moving. Cranberry Lake 50, here we go. So this hike starts with about 1.5 miles of road walk as we're headed towards the SUNY ESF Ranger School here in Wanakina. It is a pretty walk though, even in the fog and mist. Thankful the rain has stopped, but it's really kind of funny. I've run into 3 or 4 different people from the town already, and without a doubt every one of them has been very friendly, outgoing, assuring me that tomorrow will be a better day, and just waving as they drive by. So clearly they're pretty familiar with hikers on the Cranberry Lake 50. And we're going to be heading off the main Ranger School Road and heading off into the woods here at the Peavine Swamp Trailhead. So we're finally getting into the woods. One of the things I wasn't sure of when I read the book, it said that once it leaves the Ranger School paved road, that it would be marked in yellow and or white trail markers. And I wasn't sure if we were still going to get the blue markers as well, so I was a little concerned, would I be able to find the right yellow or white trail? Fortunately, they are in fact blazed in both blue and yellow or white, depending on which trail you're on in particular. So there is one of our Cranberry Lake 50 markers. All right, well, fortunately, the trails are pretty well marked. We are at the intersection here of loops 2 and 3, and we are going to continue this way, heading down the blue trail. Cranberry Lake 50, on our way. All right, so we are about 5 miles into our hike, about halfway to Wanakina. Trail's been okay. I just passed a section that was pretty swampy and pretty muddy, and got my feet wet a few times, but we're not doing too bad. We are coming up to a campsite at the south end of Loop 1. I think we're gonna take a quick break there, grab a few snacks, and grab something to eat. We're making decent time, and the weather seems to be holding out, although it's been threatening a little bit of spit here and there, but doing okay. taking a break here at the intersection with Loop 1, the southern end of Loop 1. Just going to take a few minutes to grab something to eat. About 5.5 miles into our hike so far. It's been kind of wet all day, but I think there's actually active rain falling right now. It's hard to tell between whether it's actually raining or if it's just wind blowing the rain off the trees, but it is coming down a little bit right now. Debated putting on a rain jacket, but it's just too warm to be active in a rain jacket, and so I'm just gonna, let it go for now. But for a little bit, I'm gonna have some granola. I've got some gummy bears. I've got some banana nut chews. I've got some Starkiss. So we got some snacks. We'll just hang out for a few minutes and then we'll get back on the trail. The beavers seem to be doing what beavers tend to do, and that is to make things awfully wet. We've got a little channel here. We are just a couple of miles south of Cranberry Lake, and nice little bridge crossing, thankfully. Just arrived at the Cranberry Lake trailhead. I did not see a trailhead register at Wanakina, so I didn't sign in, but I did sign in here. It's a nice big open lot. This whole trail follows pretty close to the road because you can hear the road noise most of the trip. So we are officially logged in on the Cranberry Lake 50. We are about 9.15 miles into our trip so far, and headed to Hedgehog Pond. I've got maybe another 8 miles to go, 9 miles to go. So more work to be done. I've reached the Oswegatchie River Walk, and we're gonna go across. It's pretty loud, but it's a river walk. I've hit the road walk here in Cranberry Lake. Looks like it's maybe a couple of miles of road walk. I've passed the Clifton Community Center, and traffic is pretty heavy here, so I should be ducking back into the woods in about another half mile or so. It's gonna be pushing it to get to my campsite before dark tonight. I had hoped for Hedgehog Pond. I'm feeling pretty good, but my legs are definitely tired, and I'm only a little over halfway there. So once we get back in the woods, we're gonna have to see what we can do to make it happen before 7. I may end up finding a spot earlier than Hedgehog if necessary, but that's where we're at. All right, we are heading back into the woods. I am leaving the Gilbert Tract parking lot. I find it interesting that here at the parking lot, maybe you see it right about there, is somebody's credit card that was left behind, and somebody else was nice enough to bag it and leave it there in hopes that maybe they'll come back. I'll try to grab the name and see if I can find them online, but that's a little scary. Also left behind was a nice little Lucky trekking pole. Not cheap, so hopefully whoever owns that comes back to pick it up. But yeah, we've got probably my mileage meter, my watch is just about dead, so I can't really tell exact mileage, but should have about 8-ish miles, maybe 7 miles to go to get to Hedgehog Pond. And it's currently 3:30, so we're gonna be pushing it, but I think I can get there. So all is well, and heading off. Time is now 3:47. Burnt Bridge Pond Trail is 1.3 miles. Brandy Brook Flow is 2.8. Just ran into a section of boardwalk, and I think I'm really walk because this would not be much fun without a boardwalk. Oh boy. All right, it is about 4 o'clock, and I figure we should be at camp sometime around 6 o'clock. So I got a couple more hours to go. I haven't really really filmed much since we left Wanakina because I've been a little bit nervous about running out of time. But it is 5 o'clock now, and we just hit the first official campsite on this side of Cranberry Lake. Gives me hope that maybe we have about 2.5 miles to go before we hit the turnoff for Hedgehog Pond. So I'm hoping that we can get there by about 6:30 would be great. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. It's definitely wearing on my body. I'm definitely ready to sit down and take a break, but I just need to keep pushing until I can get to my site for the night, and then I can take off this pack and not have to worry about putting it back on for a few hours anyway. So that's where we're at. I was just starting to feel really tired and feeling it definitely in my shoulders and my hips and my legs, particularly the back of my knees. And I was beginning to think maybe I should call it quits a little bit early. But I just got to this little junction here, and I see the sign says there is 2.2 miles to Hedgehog Pond, which is my goal. I figure I can be there in an hour, and I will just keep pushing through. But in the meantime, at the same spot, there is a little trail that goes out to actual Cranberry Lake, and I think I might just go down and take a look and see what I can find for a few photographs. I think I'm really glad that I went over to the lake. We got some nice photos over there. The leaves are definitely starting to turn colors, and did get to spot a kingfisher, although I didn't get it on film. It was pretty cool to see. So yeah, glad I took the little short hike. It's only a couple 100 feet over, so wanted to check it out, and glad I did. Time to put this pack back on and get myself over to Hedgehog so I can set up for the night, make some dinner. I'm getting hungry. I am very happy to see that sign. That sign tells me that I'm 2/10 away from my campsite, and I definitely need it. I'm sore, I'm tired, I'm ready to get my feet up and lay down for a little bit, and I'm ready to get some food in my tummy. It is about 6:15 right now. Hopefully it'll be there in a couple of minutes, and it is getting dark, so hopefully I can get bear bags hung and hammock set before darkness falls. That is the plan. All right, well, I didn't get to record much once we got to the campsite because as soon as we got here, it was already getting dark, and by the time we got bear bags hung and the hammock set up, tarp set up, all the stuff that needs to be done, before I even got to making dinner, it was already dark. It is currently 7:45, and I am probably going to be calling it a night here in just a few minutes. It's supposed to get down to, I think, close to 35 tonight, maybe even cooler. But I've got the 20-degree quilt set from Hammock Gear, and I think I'm going to be just fine as far as the temperature is concerned. I took off my wet socks and my wet pants, and I got them hanging on the ridgeline, and we'll hope that is going to help them dry out at least a little bit before morning. But to be honest, I'm not too concerned about dry feet because like 100 feet down the trail, you have to cross through a stream where the rocks that make the bridge are already under an inch of water. So I'm going to get wet first thing in the morning, and I know it. But if I can at least, not have to put on wet shoes, that'll be a benefit. Once I, posted that comment about being, 0.2 from the campsite, I was hiking that 0.2, and it's only about 4 or 5 minutes. But on the way up here, I actually spooked a big adult doe deer who leapt away from me. And by the time I noticed her, I saw her white tail was probably 20 feet away. And I'm sure she was much closer than that before I noticed her, before I saw her. But she got about 30 feet away and just stopped and turned around and looked at me and watched. Didn't run away until I was well out of sight, and I could hear her scamper off. But yeah, it was kind of cool. It's the closest I've seen for wildlife other than chipmunks today and toads. I did hear my first loon
probably around 4 o'clock this afternoon. I was a little surprised it was as late as it was. This particular campsite, I'll show you in the morning, is right on Hedgehog Pond. I suspect that I may be woken up in the morning by loons, but I could think of worse ways to be woken. But I'm going to go ahead and kill the video for tonight and try to get some rest. We did about 18 miles today. I am definitely feeling it, definitely sore. The pack carried great. I'm carrying the Atom Packs Mo 50. It did a really nice job of carrying everything. I did not think I was going to be as stressed as I was to try to put in 18 miles before, 7. But I got about an hour later start than I had expected. And it got dark about half an hour, 45 minutes earlier than I expected, which left me quite short on time. So I was pushing it. I was, while I was moving, I was averaging around 3.1, 3.2 miles per hour plus brakes. It slowed it down to an average time of about 2.5 miles an hour. But towards the end, it was definitely a struggle. I think that's all I got for now. Hoping that we get a good sunrise over the Hedgehog Pond tomorrow. I do believe it's facing east, so we may get sunrise in the morning, probably get mist rising off the lake. So I'll be trying to get some shots in the morning first thing. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Good morning, everyone. It is now 7 a.m. and I've been up for about 5 minutes. Just wanted to lay back down in bed for a little while. I slept okay. It's pretty chilly out here. I think the thermometer this morning on the Zoleo says it's 48. I slept really warm. Sleeping bags did a really nice job of keeping warm, but tonight it's supposed to get down to 33 overnight. So it's going to be chilly. It's going to be around 32 when I wake up, or 34 in the morning when I wake up tomorrow morning. So it's going to be quite a bit chillier. I think I'll be fine in my sleeping bag. I just worry about, getting out of the sleeping bag and trying to get moving around. I woke up last night around 11:30 to go to the restroom, and my foot was feeling weird and, feeling stressed. So we'll have to see how the foot feels when I get out of bed this morning. Might have just been that I was sleeping on it weird last night. Definitely sore this morning, just trying to roll around here in the sleeping bag. It's definitely sore, but like my whole body is sore. But we'll see how today goes. I've got dry, clean socks on right now, but I think I'm going to have to change into my wet, cold, dirty, frozen socks this morning and into my shoes so that I've got at least this dry pair to wear tonight when I get into camp. So not particularly looking forward to getting up this morning, but you gotta do what you gotta do. I don't want to be getting on the trail at 11 and having to do 18 miles again today in 6 hours. So gotta get up, gotta get moving and evaluate where we're at. Hoping to get down to either Olmsted Pond or possibly all the way to Cowhorn Pond today. Weather's supposed to be nice today. It's supposed to be clear, but chilly. So trails are wet, plants are all wet. It just is. So anyway. Well, here was Home Sweet Home last night on Hedgehog Pond. I hung my hammock between that big tree in the middle and the smaller tree there on the right. And that's where I hung out for the night. Let's go see what kind of view we had. Kind of wished I brought a paddle. I just left my campsite at Hedgehog Pond and reached back to the Cranberry Lake 50 proper. And I'm afraid I'm going to make the decision to end my hike here. The foot pain that I woke up with last night really hasn't gotten any better. In fact, if anything, it's gotten worse. And I think it would be foolish for me to try to push on for another 32 miles with a bad foot. I've still got 18 miles to get back to the car, but if I leave now, I can break up that 18 miles over 2 days and save myself a few miles on the overall hike. I'm pretty disappointed, to be perfectly honest. I thought I was going to be in a good spot to complete this trail, but I don't want to do damage to my foot. If I can get off of it and get back home and relax, I think that's the smarter choice. As disappointed as I am, I think I know that's the right answer, and if I pushed on, I probably would get through just fine, but I would end up panicking the entire time that I might be doing more damage. So I'm gonna call it quits and head back after just one night. Pretty bummed, but I will still have a 36-mile hike to my credit for this week. So disappointed for sure, but I'll survive. And yeah, I probably won't videotape a whole lot today since everything I'm going to pass today I already passed yesterday. So I'll let you go for now, and if I record something else, great. We'll see you soon. Bye. Well, the good news is I've made it back to the Gilbert Tract trailhead here in Cranberry Lake. Bad news is it's almost 12:30 at this point, and looks like I've got about 11 miles to the car if I wanted to push it all the way to the car. I'm gonna be honest, this hurts a lot. Like, my foot is killing me and I'm limping the whole way. I'm not sure I'm gonna make it all the way to the car tonight, which is fine. I told family that I would be staying tonight, so I might end up having to do that. I was just hoping maybe I can get off this foot a little bit sooner, but at the end of the day, I've got 11 miles to hike before I can get to the car, whether I do that tonight or in 2 days. Normally 11 miles wouldn't be anything that would faze me, but where I'm at right now, I'm considering looking for a taxi or a lift down to Wanakina and get off this foot as early as I can. But I've got about 2.5 miles maybe of road walk here in Cranberry Lake, and then after that, I'll be back in the woods. And it's, if I decide to get to ride, it's going to have to be before I leave Cranberry Lake. So not looking promising. Probably be here another night, which is fine. I'm looking forward to, a campsite and a place to hang the hammock. Slept well, okay last night. But I'm not looking forward to waking up at 30 degrees tomorrow morning and then having to hike another 6 miles out to the car. So it is what it is. It's not always easy, but here's where we're at. So that's what I got. Alright guys, this is a video that I did not want to have to make, but I think it's really important that we reflect on some things that happened. So I'm home, I'm in my front yard, and I wanted to take a minute to wrap up how the trip ended, and evaluate some of the things that went right, some of the things that went wrong, and then also to kind of go through the pack and kind of give myself a little bit of a shakedown. What items did I use? What did I not use? What might I have left behind? What might I have added? So I think that's an important part of every trip, is just kind of evaluating what you brought and what you didn't, what you could have left behind. So last I left you, I was at the trailhead in Cranberry Lake and feeling a little bit defeated. I fortunately had a little bit of cell phone reception there and was able to call family and let them know that I was out, I was safe, and was evaluating opportunities to get home. I was prepared to stay another night. The nearest campsite would have been about halfway back to the car from the trailhead, so it would have been about 5.5 miles that I would have had to hike yesterday. And by the time I got to the trailhead, I had already done 7-ish, so it would have been 13.5 miles total, and I just wasn't feeling like that was going to be a good fit.
but I didn't know that I had a lot of options. I did look up taxi services, and there just isn't anything serving Cranberry Lake that would have been easily accessible. I tried checking out the Uber app. There are no drivers available. So on a whim, I reached out on the Cranberry Lake 50 Facebook group and just posted, it might be a long shot, but is there anybody local that might be able to give me a shuttle from Cranberry Lake down to Wanakina? And within about 5 minutes, I had an offer for somebody that was willing to come and pick me up that lived nearby. And so I agreed, and we made a pickup location. And 5 minutes later, I was in a car and headed back to my own vehicle. So I just want to, I know I'd said earlier in the video about how the people of Cranberry Lake and Wanakina had been so friendly and waving and talking to me as I was on the roads and whatever. But yet again, I just want to shout out that some of the people in those communities have been really fantastic. Kristen was able to come and pick me up, and small world scenario, her husband actually works with my wife at the same business. So that was kind of surreal. So that was just interesting. So anyway, she gave me a ride back to Wanakina. I packed up my stuff and I headed back home. Last night when I got home, I got out of the car, my foot felt surprisingly good, and I began to second guess maybe I should have stayed out. The foot felt pretty good all night last night, but this morning when I got out of bed, it was just as bad as it was yesterday. So it's been sore all day today. I think I'm going to end up having to go to a doctor to get it checked out, but I'm home, I'm safe, and that ended okay. So I'm disappointed, definitely frustrated. I think if I were to guess, it's probably something to do with the plantar fascia. I feel like I just pushed too many miles too early in the trip. My first day, I got to the trailhead around 10:30 or so. By the time I got on the trail, maybe 10:45, and I had to push almost 18 miles, 17.8 miles. I was pushing to try to get to my campsite, and I think I just did too many miles too fast. I felt like I was constantly pushing against the clock. I didn't really stop for lunch at all. I didn't stop for water breaks. I just kind of kept hiking, stopped, for 30 seconds or a minute here and there to grab a snack in my bag, but don't think I gave my body enough time to recover in between. So every time I'd look at my watch, I realized that I had so much farther to go, and I just kept pushing myself. And really, I felt like I was running. Anytime I had a flat surface of trail that I thought I can get away with it, I would run. And it was just too much. So it's a bummer. I've been planning this trip for over a year, and I was really excited about it. And I consider myself to be a fairly capable backpacker, and so to bail on a 50-mile trip after only 18 miles into it, I'm disappointed. But at the same point, I knew it was the right thing to do. Had I kept going, I could have done another 7-8 miles. I would have been halfway. At that point, it would have been just as fast to go all the way around, and I knew that was an option. But I think I would have been second guessing the entire trip whether I was making the injury worse, and I probably would have been. So I'm thankful that I was able to get picked up and get off that foot a little quicker. Was able to get home, was able to rest and relax. I've had my foot on ice most of the morning, and it's feeling okay. I can walk around. It's not great, but it's not going to be the death of me, and I'll be back again. I'm sure the Cranberry Lake 50 is not going anywhere before I get back to it. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Now the trip ended up only being an overnight, so I had packed gear and food for 4 days. So there's obviously some things that I didn't need to bring because it was so short, but at the same point, I'm feeling I wanted to kind of go through everything and see what all I could have left even had I gone on a longer trip. I've taken out of this bag so far, I've already taken out all of the water and all of the food, and tried to get it down to just my base weight. The other thing I don't currently have in here besides that is my camera and my tripod, which I'm currently filming on. The camera is a Nikon Z6, and it's a 24-70 f4 lens, and I'm shooting on the Surui carbon fiber travel tripod. I think combined all of the lens, the tripod, the camera, and I have a Capture Designs clip that I wear. All of that combines for about 6 pounds, which is a lot. weighing everything all together just before shooting this video, minus food and water, I was at 28.5 pounds for base weight, which is a lot heavier than I had initially planned. But shortly before the hike, I was checking the weather forecast, and it was looking for a chance of rain. It was looking for lows as low as 30 degrees, and so I added some rain jacket, I added some warmer layers of clothing, I added a hoodie, a hat, and so I added some weight that I hadn't originally planned on. I was hoping to get this trip down under 23, just didn't make it there. So yeah, let's take a look at what all is in the pack. The pack itself is the Atom Pack's Mo 50 pack, and I really like the pack. It carries super comfortable. The pack itself is only 2 pounds when it's empty, and it carried the load pretty well. I think trail weight was somewhere around 34, 35 pounds with all the food and water. I was actually pleased that I got 4 days worth of food down into about 5 pounds, 5.25 pounds. So that wasn't terrible. Yeah, so let's take a look at what's inside of it. In this trip, I knew that I was planning on pushing high miles, so I didn't want to bring my camp chair. So I just brought my sit pad, just a regular foam sit pad, accordion style. Just gave me a nice place to sit down. In fact, I might just use it now since it's kind of damp on the grass. I also carried this GSI mug. The nice thing about this mug is that it's insulated, so it does keep your coffee hot or cold. And it's marked for gradations, so you know if you need 6 ounces or 8 ounces of water, you know what you've got. Starting on the outside of the pack, I had 2 Smart Water Life Water bottles. I carried the Sawyer Squeeze with the Sawyer Squeeze bag, and another bottle that I cut off is a scoop bottle when the water's too shallow. So I carried that in the one side pocket. And on the other side pocket, I carried with me a folding saw, as well as my compass. I don't know, this is one of those things that I feel like most people aren't carrying a compass anymore, and I feel like I just can't, I'm not ready to let it go. So I still carry my compass. I think I'm going to start leaving the saw behind. When I hike solo, it's rare that I actually build a campfire. So if I'm going to be hiking solo and pushing miles, I think I'm going to leave the saw behind. I did bring my headlamp. This is a Black Diamond. I don't remember which model specifically, but I do like that. I also clip my emergency whistle to it, and I usually wear this around my neck as I'm hiking. I did carry Picardin bug spray, and to be honest, at this time of year, there really are no bugs, so that was kind of a waste. That was 4 ounces I really didn't need to carry with me. I did bring my pocket knife. This is a Leatherman rebar. I like the knife. I didn't use it this time because I wasn't building fires, but I still like to have a blade with me, so I'll keep that. And I did stop and pick up an extra mini Bic lighter. Again, probably overkill, but I always worry that I might lose the one mini Bic that I always carry. Probably leave it behind. I grabbed an extra set of AAA batteries for the headlamp. Probably leave that behind next time as well. In the main compartment, or in the back compartment, I've got the straps to my hammock. I'm kind of a hammock gear fanboy when it comes to my hammock stuff, so this is the ultralight straps out of Hammock Gear. I've got the Hammock Gear Winter Dream tarp. I think it's the Journey tarp. And then I've got, my stake bag, just regular Hammock Gear Y stakes. I did carry the Frog Togs rain jacket, which I didn't end up using, but it was nice to know that I had it. And then my poop kit is just a roll of toilet paper, the Deuce of Spades trowel, and some hand sanitizer and some wipes. And that covers the outside. My other smart water bottle. I'm also carrying, I have been carrying for about 1.5 years now, the Zoleo satellite communicator. It allows me to send a text message to family when I don't have cell phone reception. It also lets me check the weather. I use it a little bit this time, trying to reach family, just let them know where I was and where I was at. For a battery bank, I carry the Anker 10,000 milliamp charger and my cell phone. Those all go in the strap pockets right on the front. And then we'll get into the pack. I did carry my Columbia puffy jacket. This is a synthetic jacket. Ended up wearing it at night, taking it off during the day, which is kind of what I figured I would do. I did carry my winter hat. Again, I probably wouldn't have carried either of those if it was going to be a warm weather trip. This is my cook system. It's a Totes Titanium 1100. It seems like overkill when everybody in the world is carrying a 550, but I like having the extra space, and it doesn't bother me. So I do carry a little bit of cell suds and a little trial. I carry my propane canister. I keep my bear bag line inside of my fuel kit, or inside of my mess kit, and I also keep a little rag to keep things dry. I like to put these at the bottom in case there is any standing water, that I don't have the metal of the can against the metal of the pot and making rust. So I put my rope and my pad at the bottom, and my canister on top, and then I just wedge the stove in there. The stove is the VRS 3000 or whatever that is. It's like a gram. It's like the lightest stove ever made. And then I just made my own Reflectix koozie, and all that gets stowed together in one. There is a spoon sleeve in the pouch, and that's where I keep my one original mini Bic lighter. So I carry that in there at all times. And then I've got my first aid kit, and I consider my first aid kit to be first aid both for me and all of my gear. So I have like gear to repair my gear, and I have like first aid medicines, bandages, ointments, the regular routine run-of-the-mill stuff. That's probably a kit I could cut down, but I'm just always nervous about cutting down a first aid kit. So for now, I'm leaving it. This is my hammock. It is the Hammock Gear Circadian Bug Net Hammock. It's an 11-foot hammock. I absolutely love that hammock. I sleep so well in it. And then I've got the Hammock Gear Econ Burrow for an underquilt. It's a 20-degree underquilt. And I have my spare clothes, which is basically a pair of socks for sleeping in, a pair of tights for sleeping in, an extra pair of socks and underwear for, if I had gotten wet, and then a spare hoodie as well. And then I have the hammock gear. Oh, and I did have one pair of thermal top. And then the top quilt is the Hammock Gear Incubator, another 20-degree quilt. And then I just brought a pair of super cheap flip-floppy type shoes from, these are Cushion Air. They're super, super light and cheap. I bought them at Sierra Trading Post. And then everything goes inside of a regular trash bag liner. And that's kind of the whole gear. Things I might have left behind, as I said, I'd probably leave out the saw, leave out the bug spray, leave out my spare batteries. And to be perfectly honest, I've been debating on this whole camera thing because I consider myself a photographer and it kills me to go out in the woods without my camera. But probably 90% of the video that you're going to see in this video were all shot on my phone. I do like having the camera if I'm going to be shooting stills of like landscapes or macro, things like that. But this trip, honestly, I cut short before I got to a lot of the really picturesque spots that I was looking forward to. So I really didn't shoot a lot of still photos with my big camera. So I question whether or not it was worth bringing the big camera, but that's where we're at. So we're home, we're safe, we're going to put all this stuff back together. We're going to probably be on hold for a little while. I don't know that I have any other trips coming up real soon, which is a bummer. It kind of stinks to end your hiking season with a trip that really didn't go as I planned at all. But good news is we're safe, we're home, and we live to tell another day. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.